everybody, welcome back to Ant Lab Games. Today we are going to do a playthrough of the Big Book of Madness by Aiello. So the Big Book of Madness is a cooperative game for 2 to 5 players, where each player takes the role of I guess an apprentice magician, or like a student at Hogwarts, if you are familiar with Harry Potter, which I'm sure you are. But basically, you are in the elementary college, a school of wizardry. And of course, as kids, you go into their arcane library, and you search for this book, you find it, you want to open it up, you want to gain all of its power. But unfortunately, the book is evil, and it is filled with evil things. It is a prison trapping the worst magical creatures imaginable, and you've let them out. So, with that said, we, unfortunately open the book. We have to get through all of the curses that these creatures are going to put on us within 6 rounds, which will basically take us through the book, or the grimoire as they call it. And we have to cast spells and use magic to defeat the curses and not go mad in the process. So let me show you a quick overview of the setup, and we'll jump right into the game. So the main board setup is quite simple. We have sort of like our round track, or turn track. Basically each turn goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then starts over again, so it goes around and around. And that's really going to work through all of the different curses that are in play, and either allow us to eliminate the curse, or we're going to have to take the effects of the curse if we don't eliminate it, and I'll show you how that's done later. This here is our round track, as well as our difficulty track. So easy, medium, and hard, 1, 2, or 3. We are going to play an easy playthrough, because I want to show you the core mechanics of the game, and this is not an easy game. It is very challenging, so I think for all intents and purposes, I'm going to do it on easy and make this an enjoyable playthrough instead of a frustrating one. Since we had just gone through the most difficult session of Doomrock previously, so I think this is something lighter. Definitely need something lighter. So that's basically it. So we've got a madness pile, and with the 2-player game, I'm going to be playing 2 different magicians. But for the 2-player game, you start with 20 madness cards. If that deck ever runs out, we lose the game. So that's the setup. Here's the book. We're going to move it on to this side, and then we basically just flip pages, and we're going to go through it. And we'll do that once we jump into the first round. So let's go over the heroes, or the magicians, and then we'll go over to the spells that are in the spell pool that we can learn, because we're in an arcane library, so as they're fighting these curses, they're on the fly learning spells. So that's how the game plays. Alright, so my first magician is sort of this fire mage, and there's 4 elements in the game. There's fire, water, earth, and wind. So each character you play as has a special ability. So her special ability is, during your turn you can refresh one exhausted spell in front of you or another player. So during her turn, she can basically refresh one of these spells, which don't refresh until the concentration phase, which is at the very beginning of each player's turn. So whenever you cast a spell, it goes sideways and you can't use it again. And that should become helpful, so to basically allow her to use something twice, or to, for example, combo like telepathy, which allows the other player to take an action during your turn, and then she could also refresh one of their spells to allow them to cast it again. So it's pretty cool. You can bounce back and forth. This game is all about coordinating, cooperation, because you need to help each other, or else you'll never make it through. So that's her ability. She gets each character gets different a starting deck of 12. So she gets 1, different elements and how many cards. So 1 double fire, 3 single fire, and so forth. But that's her deck. We're going to start the game with 6 cards, but I'll draw them after we look at the other character. Alright, so here we have our water mage. And his ability is, during your turn, you can treat 1 value 1 air card as any element of your choice. So he can basically use an air element card as any other element, which could be huge. Could be huge. So you notice his deck is slightly different. But that is that. So let's look at the spell pool, and then we can start the first turn. So the spell pool, each spell costs 2 of each element. And they all have stronger abilities than our base spells. They are randomly drawn. There are level 1, 2, and 3 spells. So underneath this level 1 is a level 2, and underneath that's a level 3. They all cost the same. Each character is allowed to have 5 spells, at least the ones that I have, the characters I've chosen. So they can buy 1 each, and then if they buy any more than that, they're going to have to get rid of one of their existing spells. And you can buy 1 spell per turn. So basically, you want to spend some of your mana to buy these spells to replace some of the weaker ones you have, and they're all pretty good. So Frost Mirror, place 1 card from your discard pile into support, which will go through support, and we'll go over the cards as we buy them because we're going to be buying them. So that should make a lot more sense once we start playing. So I think that's pretty much all we need to do. This game is pretty easy to set up. Take you just a few minutes to get it to the table, randomize all the cards, and get going. So with that, I think we'll start the game and jump in, and I'll explain along the way. So here we go. Okay, so basically you'll notice that round 1 doesn't have any icons until we get to the 3rd round, right? 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. This is how many multi-element cards we'll be adding to the curse, or multi-element curse. They'll be adding to the track, the curse track. So we're not going to have to do that till the 3rd round, which basically makes it harder. That's essentially what it does. So we start here, and we first go here, and this is going to reveal the first monster. So we open the book of the Grimoire, and now we have our first challenge, right? So if we had any multi-element curses, we would put them first, and then we would lay out the rest of the elements that this is telling us we need to add. So basically, we need to add a fire, a wind, and an earth curse. So we just draw from the fire, the wind, and the earth curse decks, and that will be how this round plays. And any immediate effects, reveal effect, destroy as many madness from the madness stack as the number of players. So what this monster is going to do is going to destroy 2 madness cards. So basically that's our timer. So he's just giving us that much less time by coming out. And that's all the action he has. We have these 5 rounds to get through this, defeat his curses to win, at least this round, and take the success reward. If we don't defeat him by the time that this book gets back around to here, we have to take the loss for this creature. You don't have to defeat them, but it's beneficial to, right? So if you can handle the penalty where all players discard all earth cards from their hands and their support pool, like that's what we'd have to do if we don't defeat him. But if you don't defeat him, it's not the end of the world. It may be better to not defeat him and spend your cards somewhere else. So that's that. And this here is telling us that the next creature is going to be fire, wind, and water. So we know that we're going to have to save up. So to destroy these curses, we need to pay the elements that they're showing us. If we can't beat them, he wins. If we do beat them, we get to collect 1 2-element card, for example, of our choice, like this. This is a 2-element card. If the book gets here to round 2 and there's a curse here, we have to take this effect. That's basically how it goes, down and dirty. So that's the board. It's set. We're ready to roll. Let's jump into player 1. All right. So first thing we do is we deal out 6 cards. All right. So she has her hand of 6, and all your cards are going to be these elements, and at some point it's going to be these madness cards, right? So she's got 2, 3 fire, 1 wind, 2 earth, and a water. Now we can do different things with these cards, right? With these, because we can use them to buy spells, we can use them to cast spells, we can use them to defeat curses. Now she's got 3 fire, but it's going to cost me 4 to beat that first curse. So what I want to do is I want to see if our if our friend the water mage has any fire in his hand, so maybe we can kind of do some combos here. Alright, so we'll draw his 6. And we know that he's got at least 3 fires in his deck, his starting deck. And he does, which is good. So he's got, and I'll leave these up, because nothing in this game, it's not really hidden information. You're working together. And I'll show you how that's even more obvious when we start to go into support. So let me pull out, and I'll show you how I want to combo this. So I want to knock that spell out, because after her turn, this book is going to move, and we're going to have to suffer this penalty. And I'd rather not, if we can avoid it. So, considering I have such a strong starting hand, so what she's going to do, she's going to cast Telepathy, and Telepathy costs 1 wind. Right? So I will exhaust Telepathy, and it says one other player takes 1 action. I'm going to use this player, my water mage, to cast Ice. That's his action. All right, so it costs me 1 water. So place 1 card from your hand into support. Right. So I'm going to put Fire into support. Now every character can put up to 3 cards into support, and what support does is it basically is a common pool for all players to pull from. It's like stashing or storing power in a general common pool that we can all pull when we need it, and it'll stay there. So that's the action she gave him. So she basically used telepathy to tell him that she needs fire, right? So he's like, all right, I'm going to cast Ice. Give him an action on, between turns to cast Ice. So he throws that into support, and now what I can do is I can take a card from support and use it to cast and defeat this curse. 2, 3, 4. So that goes to his discard. These go to mine, and we destroy this curse. So the curse is destroyed, and as a reward, I get 2 of any element card. So I'm going to take a 2 fire. All right. So I could take as many actions now as I want, as I can afford to, so I can cast more spells. But I think I'm going to perhaps buy a spell. So she's going to spend 2 fire and buy this Power of Inferno spell. So this basically says 1 player can discard 1 card, then draw 1 card. Alright? So she now has her 5th spell. If I had more, actually I do. I could potentially buy another spell. This is, you could basically, every action you can do 1 thing. So I could take another action. I know I said earlier you can only buy a spell per turn, but I meant a spell per action. So I have enough. I could buy the Earth spell if I wanted to right now. But do I want to? Might not be a bad idea. I'm going to flip up the next fire spell, but let's look at the Earth spell. So the Earth spell that's available is 1 other player chooses 1 card from the discard pile, then places it on top of their deck. So it allows them to basically seed their deck. But this would have to replace one of mine, like potentially my growth spell, and I'm not really sure I want to do that. What I'll do though is spend. So I've got 2. So I know we're going to need some Earth. He's got 2 Earth. So what I can do is I can cast Ice, and I'm going to put 1 of my Earth cards in support, and I've got 1 left. And I'll probably just hold on to it. Yeah, maybe I'll just hold on to it. So what I'll do now is it's at the end of my turn, right? So the monster phase went. We kind of skipped at the first turn. This is the action phase, so I could learn a spell cast, gain an elemental card, or destroy a curse. So I destroyed the curse. Now we go to recoup phase. So recuperation is draw up to my hand of 6, or discard down to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I ever go to draw a card and there's none left, I have to place a Madness card on top of my discard pile, shuffle it, and then continue drawing. So I've got a lot of Earth here, so I think I'm in business to deal with that with that Earth's curse. That's no problem. Now the big problem I see is going to be this one. So now what I didn't do is during your turn you can refresh one exhausted spell in front of you or from another player. So I'm gonna refresh my ice spell as my ability because I never got to use that, so I'm gonna use that now. So she's done that. She moves this over to the other player and then we'll continue with his turn. Alright, so this moves to 2. Had that curse still been there, we would have had to suffer each player destroys one value 2 card of their choice, which would have been terrible because destroying it means it takes it out of the game. If we don't beat this curse by the time, well, both of these curses, because they're both part of number 3, each player will receive 1 madness, and each player receive, so we're going to each get 2 madness on our discard pile. That's not good. So we want to try to defeat these if we can now. Alright, so what I think I'll do for his turn is I need more air. I just don't have enough. So what I'll do is maybe I'll draw a card. I'll use growth. Draw a card. Then we get fire. Boy, not really what I wanted. So I'm gonna have to hold on to these. I don't have, so like if I cast combustion, I can destroy a card from your hand. I don't want to destroy any of these. I could give another player an action. I think I'll do that. I'm going to cast telepathy, and then one other player takes 1 action. So what I'm going to do is have her take the action of defeating a curse. So she's got 4. So she can defeat this one, and she'll take another 2. So I'll take water. So she's going to take a 2 water. So he gave her an action. He doesn't have much left except for 1 wind, which I want to hold on to. So I think he's gonna end his turn. He's not gonna buy a spell or anything. He really has a pretty bad hand. So during your turn, you can treat 1 value air card as any element of your choice. So yeah, I could have used these, but I wanna hold on to it. So we'll leave that. Leave his hand as is. We'll draw up to 6, 2, 3. Another thing I should mention, and because I'll probably have to do it at some point, is if I want to cast like ice, for example, it costs me one water or 1 water mana, right, to cast it. You can charge it up to 3 times. So if I paid 3 water, then I can place 3 cards from my hand into support, as opposed to 1. So that's just something that you can do that I feel I should have mentioned. So anyway, he's done. We didn't beat this curse, so now we're gonna have to suffer its effect. So this moves to 3. Each player receives 1 madness into their discard pile. So I will take 1 madness for each player and add it to their discard. And that is that. So that's really all it does. We have the full 5 rounds to defeat that. So we can keep working at it. All right. So we move back to our fire mage, and we only have 3 cards in our hand now because we used that. We used all of our earth to do what we needed to do and beat that curse. So now what I want to do is, the first thing you do is you do concentration, so we refresh all of our abilities, all of our spells, which you basically do before you move the invocation marker, but either way it doesn't matter. We applied the curses, and now what I'll do is see if I want to cast a spell. And I don't think I do necessarily. I can destroy a card from hand. 1 player can discard a card, then draw a card. Poof. So maybe what I'll do is I'll cast ice, and I'll put an air into support for later. And that's really all I'm going to do. So she's going to draw up. She draws 1. I take a madness into my hand, and now I shuffle these, and then redraw the rest of my 6. So basically you're seeding your deck with Madness cards. If you ever get to a point where all you have in your hand are 6 Madness cards, then you immediately are eliminated from the game. Game hasn't been lost, but it'll just be the other magician, and that's probably not going to end well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, she's got a lot of fire going on here, so that's good because we know the next spell is going to be fire up front, so she'll be able to take care of that, no problem. So she's got a pretty powerful hand for the next turn. We're going to pass this over and move the marker. Alright, so remember the first thing we do is concentration, where all spells are refreshed. We move the invocation marker. There's nothing here, so nothing happens. We've got one more round to get rid of that, so we need to push. Alright, so what I'm going to do with him is I'm going to spend 2 earth to charge growth 2 times. So I'm going to be able to draw 2 cards. 1, 2. Alright, so that's not terrible, but it's not great. So what I can do, yeah, this wasn't ideal. So what I'll do is I'll spend 2 ice. I'm going to cast ice and put 1, 2 into support. So now I've got this. So do I want to buy a spell? I do, but I don't want to buy. Heal up to 2 minutes from your discard pile or support. That's actually kind of nice. Cauterization. I'm going to spend these 2, and I'm going to buy Cauterization, which heals up to 2 madness from your discard pile or support. So that's nice. So that'll allow us to heal madness if we cast it. So I'm going to hold on to that. Need to add a madness to the stack because he's got to redraw because he's done. Nothing more I can do here. Now we've got to hope that our fire mage can pull some more air, 1 more air, and defeat this curse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so he's got a madness in his hand. So basically it's thinned out. It's you know, it's messing up his hand with garbage cards now. So his turn's over. Pass this back to our fire mage and then refresh. Right, we will refresh all of our spells. I will do the book. Location goes up. 1 more and the page turns and we lose this one. Alright, so I'm going to take a long shot here and I am going to pay 2 earth to cast growth. I get to draw 2 cards. 1, 2, and I didn't pull it off. So that is bad. So we're not going to get... Well, actually that's not terrible because the failure here is all players discard all earth cards from their hands in support pool. It's all earth cards, not a big deal. We're kind of pretty well situated. What I'm going to do is, since I have so much, you can spend 2 of 1 colored mana, basically, to heal. And that takes 1 of these madnesses and puts it back in the madness deck. So I've got 2, 3, 4 fire. I'm going to hold on to that because that's going to be our next curse. So we want that. What I could do is actually, I'm going to cast ice and I'm going to put a 2 up in support so then he can take care of it. I've got 2 more fire left, and what I will do is I will put them here and buy another 2 fire. I'm going to draw up to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we've got some earth, some madness, and a little bit of everything else. So now on her turn she can refresh 1 exhausted spell. So do I want to refresh somebody's exhausted spell? I could do her own, so might as well do Maybe I'll refresh her ice. Never know if I'll need it. But that ends her turn. We now pass it over back to the Ice Mage. So he will take the first player token. We will refresh all of his abilities and spells. And we will have to now move the invocation marker. So this goes back here, and that symbol is success or fail. Did we succeed or failed? We failed. So basically we suffer the failure. All players discard all earth cards from their hands and support pool. Alright, so we discard all earth cards. So we have no earth in support, but we do have some in hand, so that's not great, but it's not earth-shattering. So as you see, the penalties aren't terrible, they're just not ideal. So we discard this. You know, had we succeeded at that, each player would have gotten to draw a card, so we would have had, you know, an extra card going into this next round, which would have been helpful, but now we're actually down cards, so we're kind of thin. Okay, so any curses that we didn't defeat go to the bottom of the curse piles, of their curse pile, respective curse pile, and we turn the page in the book. So we've made it past page 1. So now we are on Grimoire, page 2. This goes to round 2. Still no multicolored curse, so that's good. Each player discards one value 3 card. I know none of us have a value 3 card, so that's not going to happen, which is good. So we have a wind, a fire. Oh, I'm sorry. We have a fire, a wind, and a water. I was reading that. That's next. Get ahead of myself. Alright, fire, wind, and water. So, as expected, that's not going to be too bad. So I think we may have a good jump on this one. We actually may be able to do this. Alright, cool. So with that, let's go. It's our water mage's turn. Let's see what he can do. Okay, so our water mage has 2. We actually move to the 1. So the water mage has 2 fire, and we can use her fire in support for 4 fire. What that'll do is that'll knock this curse out, and he gets a reward of a double element. So what I think for him, we'll take a water for him, another 2 water. So he's got 1 ice left. Oh, what can he do? He's going to want to hold that because he's going to want to hold that because we want to save up for that water if we can. Shoot, we're not going to be able to do that. We're going to take we're going to have a round to deal with from her. Man, this is tough. Alright, so what I think we can do here then is we're going to have to just draw up. There's nothing we can do. He's got some cards in support, but there's just not enough. Like, she'll be able to knock out air at least. We may have to suffer water's effect. Jeez, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need fire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, he's not looking too good with his cards. So we'll move that back, and we will refresh. Alright, so she will refresh her spells. We will advance the Grimoire up, so this moves up to the number 2 now, but fortunately there's nothing there. And what we're going to do is we're going to use his support to knock out the air. So she's going to use 1 plus 1 is 2 plus his 2 is 4, and that should solve this. And she's going to get 2 more of an element. What do we want to take? Should she keep pushing for fire or ice? I don't know. It's just what's tough. What do we want? Maybe we'll go with some more wind. We seem to be hurting on wind, so she'll take that. She's got a fire and a water. So I could so one player can discard and then draw a card. Do I need fire? Not really. So if I'll cast I'll cast Power of the Inferno. So she'll spend a fire. She can discard a card and draw a card. And she pulls water. Alright. So we're at the end of our turn. She's going to take another Madness. And we get to shuffle. So we're going to have to try to heal some of this madness if we can. We're definitely going to suffer the water. It was a good draw. She got up to 3 water. If I had one more, I could have done that one if he had at least a water and support, but he didn't. He just didn't have enough. Alright, so she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, no madness, but she got a lot of fire and water. So she'll be pretty good for next turn. She will refresh this spell because she can, and that will end her turn. Alright, so we'll move the player marker over. He's got no spells to refresh. We move the Grimoire. Each player receives 1 madness in their discard pile. You can see the madness really starts to add up. So we want to try to heal that as best we can. Alright, so we got to try to vanquish this water, and we could do it, I think. So with him, he's going to use his special ability, I think, because we want her to cure this water next time, or at least get rid of that curse. So what he's going to do is use his ability that during his turn he can treat 1 value 1 air card as an element of his choice. So he's going to use that as water so that he can cast ice and put this into support. Alright, so he's got 2 madness in hand, 1 fire and 1 earth. So he's going to cast growth and draw a card. And he got another ice, another water. Not really what I wanted to have happen there. Okay. So that's all he can do. He's going to have to draw up 2 more cards. So that's 1. I'm going to have to take a madness into his discard and then shuffle these up. So yeah, he needs more cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, he's stacked on madness. That's not good. He's going to have to, he really needs to heal those. Alright. So wow, that's bad. Yeah. Okay. He's done. I'm going to pass this over. And we will move the invocation. All of her abilities are refreshed now. So what is she going to do? She's going to cast 1, 2, 3, and destroy this. And she gets another 2 elements of her choice. So I guess she'll take 2 earth. She's got 2, 4, wow, she's got a ton of fire here. So she's going to do a, now that's going to be good for the next one, but I don't need all of this. One player can discard a card, then draw a card. I wouldn't mind that. Or destroy a card from your hand. Or what is our 3rd fire spell? Let's see. 1 other player cures all madness in their hand. Ooh, that's what we want. So we're gonna buy this for 2 fire, right? So we're gonna pay 2 fire. We're gonna destroy this one. And we're gonna replace it with this because you're only allowed 5 spells. So now she's got purification. So she's going to cast it for 3. 3 fire. And 1 other player cures all madness from their hand. So our water mage has 3 madness. And to cure it, it goes back in the stack. So we've just made our game that much longer. Sweet. That was perfect. So now there's no more fire magic cards, and she's got the best one out there, so that's awesome. Alright, cool. We're going to redraw our deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And she will refresh this because she can and pass the baton. Let's refresh his spells. He's only got 3 cards, so we have to figure out what we want to do. Alright, we move the invocation. We're still clean. Let's start looking at what's coming up now. So we're going to have wind, fire, and earth. So all that water he's got is for naught. It's not going to help us. So what we want to do is start prepping, at least for wind, if we can. What is the reward? Each player has a free support slot. Each player who has a free support slot chooses 1 card from their discard pile and places it in their support. Alright, so that's actually not too bad. That might be helpful once we finish this. So let's get on with his turn, see what we can do. Alright, what we're going to do with him is really, he's just going to spend 3 water and buy a 3 water. He's got 1 fire left. I don't want to cast any fire spells. I don't really like the water spell out there, but I will probably buy it at some point to see what the next level water spell is, because that one's really not that great. I mean, it's good. I mean, it places 1 card from your discard pile in support, but right now it's not helpful. Or do I want that? It really isn't a bad card, but I wouldn't mind having a lot of... He needs more mana in his deck, really. So he's got 1 fire spell left, 1 fire mana. Not going to use it, so he's pretty much done. There's not much he can do. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's his hand. He's got a whole lot of fire here. Earth, some wind, and some madness. So not terrible. We got rid of a ton of his madness. That other spell couldn't have come up at a better time. So he's done. Let's pass the baton. Alright, concentration phase. Everything's refreshed, so we move right into the monster phase where we advance the invocation marker here to decide whether there's a win or loss. And each player who has a free support chooses 1 card from their discard pile and places it in support. So let's see. We know we've got some pretty big fire curses coming, so we'll put that 2 fire for her in support. And let's check out, it's a no-brainer, let's put this big 3 water in support, right? Why the heck not? And that's the victory condition. So now we get to move on to the next round. Alright, so we drop down to the 3rd round. This is where we get our first multicolored curse. Right, so we move here. This flips, and we have some fat dragon thing. So each player discards their entire deck. Are you kidding me? Alright, so basically we are going to discard our entire deck, which means we're going to get a madness each and have to shuffle those up. So I'll get those shuffled, and we'll get back to putting the curses down. Alright, remember this one has a multicolor curse, so we draw from the multicolor curse deck, and that becomes our first curse. So we just need 1 of each element to beat that one. We also need 1 wind, 1 fire, and 1 earth. And those are the curses. Okay, let's start with our fire mage. Now she is going to discard 2 to do a 2 charged growth to draw 2 cards. I'm looking for water, obviously. 1, 2, and she didn't get it. I didn't want that, but what I'm going to do is discard air, fire, earth, and use his support 3, which is a waste of 3 water, but that's going to be enough to defeat this curse. I did not want to do that, but what are you going to do? I guess what we could do is bring in some more air, so I'm going to have her... Does she want air or does she want water? I guess air. Air's always been tough to get, so I'm going to bring her air. That's her reward for beating the curse. She's got 1 air one fire left. So we've got air. We've got fire. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is going to be not good. Okay, so she's going to just draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She's going to end her turn. Refresh her growth. So her ability, and then move on to our Water Mage. Alright, Water Mage goes. His spells are refreshed, so his concentration's easy. Monster phase, we move the book. We got rid of that curse, so we're okay. We definitely are not going to be able to knock out that wind curse, but he's got enough fire. He's got 3 fire in hand, coupled with the 2 she had in support, is enough to knock out the fire curse at least. And that'll give him some more mana, so he can grab a 2. What do we want? We want wind? Do we want water? Maybe we want some more water for him? Maybe wind. Tough decisions here. How about earth? We haven't really gone heavy on earth. I'll give him 2 earth. So he's got an earth and a wind. So what he's going to do, he's going to use the wind as water, because he can use any one, he can use this as any element he wants, and he will use that to cast ice and put this into support, and then he just has this curse left in his hand. So that's all he's going to do. He's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off the top of his deck, and he's got 2 wind, 2 water, an earth, and a curse. Take this back to our mage. Alright, nothing to refresh for concentration. We do the monster. Boom. Each player discards 1 fire card, so she's the only one holding a fire card, so that wasn't so bad. Oh. So what can we do here? We don't have enough earth, that's for sure. So she's got a lot of water. So why don't I do that? I'm going to spend 2 water, and I'm going to buy Frost Mirror. In this spell, place 1 card from your discard pile in support. So she will replace the power of the Inferno with that, and then she will cast it. And then it's going to do place 1 card from your discard pile into support. So what do I want to give him? She has some earth here. I guess he could use the earth. Damn. Or should she give him the wind? In case of the winds, yeah, give him the winds. Alright, so that's what she's going to give him, the winds. And she has this. So what can he do? That's not good. Alright, so she is done. And I guess she can just... During your turn, you can refresh 1 exhausted spell in front of you or another player. So she can do it again. I wonder. I'm trying to see if I can combo something, but there doesn't seem to really be anything that I could combo right now. So what I'll do is just draw 1, 2, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, she's done. Let's pass that back, and we're done. Alright, for his concentration phase, we refresh his spells, and now we do the monster phase. We go up to round 4, and the curse is each player destroys a top card of their deck. This is a bad one. The top card is 2 fire, so that gets destroyed. That's basically out of the game, really. And then this gets destroyed, and it's a 1 earth. So that was actually a bad turn of events there. But let's see what we can do. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go after that white curse, the air curse. So he's got 2, and we had 2 in support from our fire mage to destroy the white curse. And that's going to give him, I'll give him 2 more earth. 2 more earth for his discard. And he's got some more moves he can do. So what I'll do is, man, oh man, oh man. There's not much he can do here. So if we, because we're gonna have water in the next curse as well. So what I'd like to do is if I can get him, yeah, see, she doesn't have any earth. He's only got 2, so we're not going to complete this. So then each player's going to have to discard their hand and draw 5 cards. So I might as well put what I can into support for the next round. So I'll drop 1 ice spell to put another earth in support, and then just finish with these 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to have to discard this whole hand. I'm going to take another madness because I'm reshuffling. And draw 1 card to bring me back up to 6. So, I mean, it seems like we're struggling here, but we're actually doing quite well, believe me. We could be doing a lot worse. So there's his hand. He's got a good hand, but honestly, we're going to have to discard this anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Forgot to turn over our new spell here. So our next water spell is called Raining Frogs. What is that all about? Let's take a look at that one. One other player shuffles their hand, support, and discard pile into their deck, then draws 5 cards. So it's kind of a good way to refresh your hand. Alright, so his turn's over. We're going to kick it back to our fire mage and see where we go. Alright, so we will refresh for the concentration phase. We'll move up to the 5th marker. We have absolutely nothing we can do here. So what I'm going to do is I can put something. We've got water and wind going in. So I'm going to cast interesting. I'm going to cast ice, and I'm going to put 1 fire into support. Okay? I'm going to trigger some combos here. Heal up to 2, support, no. Do I want to put fire in there? No, I don't. I want to put wind in there for the next round. And I'm going to cast with 3 fire. I'm going to cast Purification, and that's going to cure, one other player cures all madness from their hand. He's got 2 madness in his hand, so we're going to cure that. That's going to go back on the madness pile, so that's good. We got to get her cured soon. We definitely got to get her cured. So that's going to end her turn. There's not much she can do. She'll refresh ice because of her ability. And we're going to draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have enough to draw without reshuffling. She's got 3 madness in her hand. That's going to be a problem. Alright, so her turn is over. We're going to move this back to our water mage and go to his turn. He's going to refresh for his concentration phase, and now we go to the monster phase. Okay, so we go up to here and we lose. Each player discards their hand and draws 5 cards. So this one comes, the curse, unresolved curses come off the board. We failed. We have to discard our hand and then draw 5 cards. So let's go ahead and do that. So that was good because we had a lot of madness in there. So we got 1 hand. We have to take another madness in here and then shuffle this up. I'm getting a little worried here because she's got a lot of madness. I'm going to have to start healing this. And she doesn't have any spells to heal herself. Purification only allows her to heal, based on the text, only allows her to heal an other player. I guess because she purifies them, but probably should have bought that with my water mage because his spell allows him to heal himself. So, alright, so she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, she didn't draw any more madness. So, she's looking alright. Let's go to our water mage. Alright, he's got to discard his whole hand and draw up to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, he looks good. And that's that. And now we move into the next phase. Alright. This turns the page. We go down to the 4th round. And what do we get? We still have one multicolor curse to start. Now we get a water, a wind, and an earth. And this looks bad. Each player places one madness on top of their deck. Okay, so that's why you got to keep healing this stuff. So one madness goes on top of each deck. So we know we're going to draw that next time. And this multicolor says add one earth token. Add one earth token on all other curses. Players must spend one additional earth to destroy them. Remove the earth tokens if this curse is destroyed. Alright, so that will be the effect if it gets down there, and I do not want it to get down there. So we need to get rid of that, and right quick. Yeah, that's not going to be good. Okay, well, there you go. Big Book of Madness. I think we've done the first 3 rounds. We've got 3 more to go, and I think this is a good time to call it a break. So we'll end the video here, and I hope you enjoyed the playthrough so far of this interesting little deck builder, the Big Book of Madness. So love the theme. Artwork is what pulled me in on this one, so I'm a sucker for that. Fantastic art, I gotta tell you. So I'm liking it so far. It's pretty good. So let me end it here, and please leave comments, any corrections in the comments field, and I'll be sure to notate that on the videos, and I'll see you for the next playthrough. Thanks for watching.